5 people in Ilorin. Nationwide blackout as Nigerians' electricity grid collapses again. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka tackles Labour Party, says Obi never won. Nigerian Oil's 2023 edition of the Aviation African Summit and Exhibition. And on the foreign scene, Madagascar opposition condemns institutional coup before vote. And in the world of sports, Verratti leaves PSG for Al Arabi in Qatar. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to Diamond 88.7 FM Ilori. This is the news on the hour. I am Omonike Babatunde. We'll bring you details of the news after this break.
We often think that mental health breakdowns sound like this.
I'm emotionally stressed. I'm emotionally downcast. I am so confused of all about life.
But in reality, they can sound like this. Don't make assumptions that people are okay just because they laugh and they smile. Everyone is going through something. Check on your friends and be kind to everyone else.
This message is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin.
You're welcome back from that short break. Please do note that you can listen to us via our website, www.diamondfm.net, or watch us live on Facebook at Diamond 887 FM and YouTube, Diamond FM in Ilorin. Now the news in detail. The Kwara State Commissioner for Environment, Malam Shehu Undanusa Usman, said the ministry will soon commence mass arrest of environmental offenders in the state. The commissioner declared this during an official visit to the chairman of Kwara State's Traditional Councils of Chiefs, Ibrahim Sulugambare, at his palace in Ilorin, the state capital. The commissioner, who disclosed that fines will be attached to such arrest, explained that the reason for the visit to the emir's palace was to seek the monarch's support to take the campaign to the grassroots. She reiterated the commitment of the present administration to eradicate indiscriminate dumping of refuse in the Ilorin metropolis and across the state. The visit, which the commissioner described as a royal assent to the war against indiscriminate dumping of refuse, was aimed at ensuring a total eradication of indiscriminate dumping of refuse in Ilorin metropolis. And still on news in Kwara State, and on a sad note, a road accident involving a commercial tricycle and tipper truck kills 5 people at Mondi Street in Ukefomo area of Ilorin West local government area of Kwara State. While speaking in an exclusive interview with Diamond FM news reporter Abiodun Akiwumi, the chairman of Ilupeju community in Modi area of Ilorin, Comrade Jamiu Oyebisi Babatunde, narrated how the accident happened and the effort of the people in the community to rescue the victims of the accident.
At our junction, and it's very vital. So I quickly rushed to the venue. On getting to the venue, we see that the accident is fatal, and we rushed them to the first hospital. They rejected them. To the second hospital, they rejected them until Surulere General Hospital. On getting there, 5 drop, remain 4.
He appealed to the Kwara State government to repair the Ita-Monga-Sakamodi road to reduce the incessant road accident on the road.
To repair this road. The road is very bad. It's killing us. This is not the first one. Every week, almost we are recording 2-3. The road is claiming about 2, 3, 4 people every week. And we are calling attention of the chorus.
Still on local news, Nigeria is currently witnessing a black power outage as the national grid collapsed in the early hours of today. The collapse is coming few weeks after the Transmission Company of Nigeria celebrated over 1 year of zero grid collapse, a feature that has characterized the Nigerian power sector. A statement by the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company said the collapse occurred around 12:40 a.m., which has resulted to the loss of supply currently being experienced across the network in Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo State. Meanwhile, power transmission drops to 273 megawatts of electricity, coming from 2 out of the over 27 electricity generation. This is the first time of witnessing the situation under the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has categorically said that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, did not win the 2023 presidential election as he claimed. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has upheld the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but his challengers are vowed to proceed to the Supreme Court. Reacting at an event titled The Lives of Wole Soyinka, a dialogue organized by Africa in the World in South Africa, the Nobel laureate said Obi came third in the election, not even second. While speaking at the event, Soyinka was asked to react to his comment against the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Dati Baba Ahmed, after the general elections. Soyinka said Obi achieved something remarkable by competing favorably with the established APC and the PDP. He, however, added that he did not win the election.
Happened, first of all, one party took over the labor movement, and then it became a regional party. Peter Obi achieved something remarkable there, that he broke that mold. Yes, however, he did not win the election. In addition, my own organization has a monitoring unit. You know the one I'm talking about. And so I could say categorically that Peter Obi's party came third, not even second. And that the leadership knew it. Well, they wanted to do what we call in Yoruba, Bajuel. That is, you know, you have force of arms. You also have force of lies. And it was gearing up.
In a similar development, a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, Mr. Mba Nkweni, Nigerians to refrain from demonizing the nation's judiciary. Ukweni made the call during an interview today in Calabar, reacting to the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal delivered in Abuja on the 6th of September. The legal experts said the tribunal judges gave their judgment and made their positions based on the evidence placed before them and the law. The senior advocate said there is an avenue for anyone who is not comfortable with the decisions to approach the Supreme Court. He added that what Nigerians need as a nation are strong institutions to forestall sharp practices. The federal government has warned that heavy rainfall could lead to flooding in about 48 towns in 13 states beginning from the 13th to 17th September. It's predicted that the rise in water levels of River Benue and River Niger could affect communities along the rivers up to Bayelsa State and advised residents in these areas to take precautionary measures. The government disclosed these in the flood prediction report of the National Flood Early Warning System Central Hub of the Federal Ministry of Environment made available in Abuja. According to the report, the 13 states to be affected include Kano, Kebbi, Katsina, Niger, Kwara, Zamfara, Bauchi, Taraba, Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Jigawa, and Gombe. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, has earlier stated that the federal government is striving to curtail the excesses of flood caused by heavy rainfall and the recent release of waters from the dams and rivers. The 2023 edition of the Aviation African Summit and Exhibition is currently holding in Abuja. This makes Nigeria the first West African country to host the summit. The two-day event, slated for 13th and 14th of September, is hosted by Civic Aviation Authority in collaboration with the Times Aerospace event, and it has brought together key stakeholders and players in the aviation industry. The summit hopes to foster growth in the industry and ensure bilateral relations among investors and airlines. According to South African Deputy Transport Minister Lisa Mango, there is need for African countries to create the right regulatory environment free of high taxation so as reposition the roadmap of Africa's civil aviation sector.
Such as this begin for us to share experiences, to see how do we interconnect African states so that we don't need to go out of Africa to come back. So that's the first thing that we do. The second thing is that infrastructure is something that is very critical. How do we leverage from each other such that we are able to share experience?
The summit hopes to address the challenges experienced in the aviation sector. The federal government also plans to make Nigerian aviation industry a hub in Africa.
For elaboration, this includes upgrading the Cat 3 landing system at major airports, construction of the second runway in Abuja, which is about to commence right now, airport improvement programs through concession, and government willingness to partner with companies to turn major airports into aerotropolis. We actually have that as part of our roadmap right now, the aerotropolis, and we'll begin with Abuja here. We have secured the sites, we secured enough land for it. We have a master plan for the aerotropolis, and we invite the world, we invite everybody to come and partner with us in developing our aerotropolis.
Still on local stories, the coordinator National Counter-Terrorism Center in the office of the National Security Advisor, Rear Admiral Yaminu Musa retired, said proceeds of kidnapping are being used to partly finance terrorism. Musa made this disclosure in Abuja during the anti-kidnap multi-agency fusion cell media and communication workshop organized by the Office of the National Security Advisor in collaboration with the British High Commission. While explaining that kidnapping for ransom is also identified as one of the means of funding terrorism, he contended that carnage unleashed by kidnappers in affiliation with terrorist groups all over the world, leading to loss and disruption of lives and properties, is a major concern, hence the need for collective effort in advancing measures to check the threat. The news is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. We're going to break now. When we return, we'll bring you foreign and sports story. Please stay with us.
Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Diamond 887 FM. Diamond FM, shining supreme.
You're still listening to the news on the hour, reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. Now we move on to the foreign scene. And on the foreign scene, opposition parties in Madagascar has denounced what they describe as an institutional coup after the Prime Minister, an ally of President Andry Rajoelina, has put in charge of the nation in the run-up to a presidential election. In a letter to electoral authorities, 10 of 13 presidential candidates said court rulings that handed the reins of the Indian Ocean island to Christine Tsay were dictated by Rajoelina and his entourage to favor the president in the November election. Voters in Madagascar, one of the poorest countries in the globe, despite vast natural resources, heads to the poll to elect a president on November 9. Rojolina resigned on Saturday in line with the constitution in order to run for re-election. Meanwhile, the president of the Senate was supposed to take over but declined to do so for personal reasons, leaving the task to a collegial government headed by Nsei. And still on the foreign scene, the United Nations said today that most of the thousands of deaths in the Libya's flood disaster could have been averted if early warnings and emergency management system had functioned properly. According to the head of the United Nations World Meteorological Organization, Peter Tales, with a better functioning coordination in the crisis-wrecked country, they could have issued the warnings and the emergency management forces would have been able to carry out the evacuation of the people, and they could have avoided most of the human casualties. He stated further that Libya has two rival governments, which has made it difficult to respond to disaster in a swift, coordinated manner, stressing that each government announced separate precautionary measures as the recent storm that caused the flooding headed towards the country. And that's it on our foreign news. Up ahead is news from the world of sport.
Diamond FM Sports News.
In the world of sport today, Italian international Marco Verratti has signed for Qatari club Al Arabi. This was announced by his new club and his former team Paris Saint-Germain. Qatari-owned PSG released a statement thanking Verratti for his 11 years at the club. Verratti has struggled with injuries and sporty disciplinary record, collecting 141 yellow cards and 6 reds for PSG. Bans and injuries limited him to 29 League One appearances last season, but that total was the most since he played 32 games in 2014 to 2015. Meanwhile, PSG received no concrete offers from any of Europe's big clubs for Verratti, perhaps put off by his salary. Still in the world of sports, Spanish female footballer Iroyin Ekunrere has completed a move to Manchester United after a World Cup winning summer with Spain. Guerrero signed for Manchester United on deadline day on permanent deal with Atletico Madrid. The midfielder was part of the Spain squad that won the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand and will now be aiming for more success in the Women's Super League. With that, we've come to the end of the news on the hour. But before we go, here's a recap of the major highlights. Kwara government moves to arrest environmental offenders. Nationwide blackout as Nigerians' electricity grid collapses again. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka tackles Labour Party, says Obi never won presidential election. Nigeria hosts 2023 edition of the Aviation African Summit and Exhibition. And on the foreign scene, Madagascar opposition condemns institutional coup before votes. And in the world of sport, Verratti leaves PSG in Al Arabi in Qatar. Did you know on this day in 1922, President Warren G. Harding, the 29th President of the United States, created the White House Police Force as a vital effort to safeguard the White House and the elected officials inside its walls. Now you know. The news was edited by Nedu Okore. You can visit www.diamondfm.net to keep up to date with us or download our app on Play Store, Diamond 887 FM. Endeavor to also join us at 3 p.m. for News Flash and 5 p.m. for news across the world. For news coverage or information about happenings around you, kindly contact Diamond FM news number on 091 6062 7529. I am Omonike Babatunde. Good afternoon, and do stick around for the news in Yoruba language.
Bedrock of any nation. And here at Diamond 88.7, we make it our top priority. view of this, we've brought you a mouth-watering offer for all primary and secondary schools. School owners can place their adverts with us at affordable prices and get amazing discounts. So, for every 3 slots of school adverts you place, you get 3 more free. Exciting, right? This is one offer you don't want to miss. Offer lasts from now till the 22nd September 2023. Take advantage of this offer and showcase your school to the world. Don't forget, pay for 3 school adverts and get 3 more free. For inquiries, call 091 2929 4332 or 081 2828 6078 or visit our marketing office at Plot 2 New Yidi Road, Irewole de Ilorin, Kwara State. Diamond 87 FM, shining supreme.
Orúkọ mi ni Yèyélúà Tóyìn Adégbọlá. Mo sì ti lé ní 50 ọdún láyé láàyè àtàyè ìdẹ̀ra. Ìgbòkègbodò mi pọ̀ gan-an nínú iṣẹ́ tí mo yàn láàyò gẹ́gẹ́ bí òṣèré orí ìtàgé. Kì í sì rẹ̀ mí, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kì í sú mi. Àwọ̀ mi sì ń jí pépépé sí bí tọmọ tuntun lójoojúmọ́. Ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀dí abájọ. Monomin Plus atẹ́jẹ̀ṣe oògùn tó ń fi epo ẹja cod liver oil ṣẹjọ́ ẹ̀ full supplement ni. Èròjà ẹ peléke, ó ń tara ṣe, ó ń máradán, ó ń jẹ́ kọ́mọdé dàgbà dáadáa, ó sì ń jẹ́ kí àgbàlagbà máa ta kébékébé. Monomin Plus.
Monomin Plus fún èròjà tó ń tún inú ara ṣe lẹ́yìn ìwádìí ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀. A tún fi èròjà cod liver oil epo ẹja sí i ló fi wá di oògùn méjì tá a papọ̀ sínú ẹyọ kan ṣoṣo. La fi ń pè é ní Monomin Plus. Iléeṣẹ́ Tuyi Pharmaceutical Industries Limited. Àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi kápò oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é. Monomin Plus. Monomin Plus.
Látinú yàrá ìròyìn Diamond 88.7 FM Ìlọrin, ìròyìn ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́.
Kásán wọ̀nyí làwọn kókó tó wà nínú ìròyìn náà. Ìjàmbá ọkọ̀ gba ẹ̀mí lọ́rùn ènìyàn 5 ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ nílùú Ìlọrin. Òkùnkùn bírímù bolẹ̀ láwọn ibì kan látàrí ìdẹnukọlẹ̀ ibùdó iná ọba àpapọ̀. Ìlúmọ̀ọ́ká òǹkọ̀wé ní Wọlé Ṣóyínká buẹnu àtẹ́lu ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú Labour Party ó ní Òbí kò jáwé olúborí ètò ìdìbò ààrẹ o. Orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà yóò gbàlejò àkójọ ètò ìrìnnà ojú òfurufú fún tọdún 2023. Nílẹ̀ òkèèrè, ikọ̀ alátakò lórílẹ̀-èdè Madagascar buẹnu àtẹ́lu fífi ọgbọ́n àlùmọ̀kọ́rọ́ yígba ìjọba ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò. Lábala ìròyìn eré ìdárayá, Verratti fi ikọ̀ PSG sílẹ̀, bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ta kọ́sọ́ sínú ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Al Arabi torílẹ̀-èdè Qatar. Ẹ ṣeun bí ẹ ṣe ń tẹ́tí sí wa. Àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn ilẹ̀ wa la mú dé láti ìkànnì ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ Diamond 88.7 FM Ìlọrin. Ọlárenwájú Oyewole ni oníròyìn yín. Ìròyìn náà yóò tẹ̀síwájú lẹ́yìn ìdánudúró ráńpẹ́ yìí.
Ní gbogbo ìgbà la máa ń rò wípé báyìí ni ìpèníjà tó ń kojú ẹ̀dá máa ń múni ké.
Ọ̀rọ̀ ayé ti sú mi, gbogbo etí ẹ ti sú mi, kò yé mi mọ́, kí ni mo fẹ́ ṣe báyìí?
Ṣùgbọ́n lójú ayé, ó tún lè fini hàn báyìí. Má ṣe máa rò wípé àwọn ènìyàn kò ní ìṣòro nítorí pé wọ́n ń rẹ́rìn-ín, wọ́n sì ń yẹ̀gẹ́nu ní gbogbo ìgbà. Ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan ló ní ohun tó ń là kọjá lábẹ́nú, kálukú labi tiẹ̀ lára. Máa bèrè àlàáfíà àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ, sì máa ṣe dáadáa sí gbogbo ènìyàn.
Ìmọ̀ràn yìí ló ń dẹ́sẹ̀ tí ìgbọ́yìn láti ìkànnì Diamond 88.7 Ìlọrin.
Ìròyìn ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ láti ilé iṣẹ́ Diamond FM.
ẹ káàbọ̀ padà ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn náà rèé. nípínlẹ̀ Kwara kọmíṣánná fọ́rọ̀ àyíká nípínlẹ̀ Kwara Malam Shehu Ndanusa Usman ti sọ gbangba pé àjọ náà yóò gùn lé ìgbésẹ̀ fífi gbòòrò òfin gbé àwọn tí ó bá ṣèdọ̀tí sí àyíká ní tìbútòrò ìpínlẹ̀ yìí láìpẹ́. kọmíṣánná kéde ọ̀rọ̀ yìí lásìkò àbẹ̀wò rẹ̀ sí alága ìgbìmọ̀ lọ́balọ́ba nípínlẹ̀ Kwara títún ṣe ọlọ́lá ọba ìlú Ìlọrin Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari láàfin rẹ̀. kọmíṣánná sọ pé àwọn owó ìtanràn yóò rọ̀ mọ́ ìgbésẹ̀ náà fún ẹni tí ajé ìwà àbàjẹ́ náà bá ṣe mọ́ lórí o. bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣípayá ìrèdí àbẹ̀wò rẹ̀ ọ̀hún sí ọba aláyé ọ̀hún níbi tó ti ń pè fún àtìlẹ́yìn ọba aláyé náà lójúnà àti gbé ìpolongo ọ̀hún lọ sáwọn ẹsẹ̀ kókó gbogbo. bákan náà ni kọmíṣánná tún jẹ́ kó di mọ̀ pé ṣíṣe ìdọ̀tí sójú táyé jẹ́ ìwà tí kò bófin mu léyìí tí a sì gbọ́dọ̀ wá ọwọ́ rẹ̀ bolẹ̀ pátápátá. ẹ̀wẹ̀ ìjàmbá ọkọ̀ kan ti wáyé láàrin oníkẹ̀kẹ́ márúwá àti awakọ̀ tipa léyìí tí ó rán ènìyàn márùn ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ lọ sọ́run àrèmábọ̀. nígbà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú aṣojúkọ̀ròyìn iléeṣẹ́ wa Abíọ́dún Akínwùmí alága fún agbègbè ìlú péjú comrade Jamiu Oyèbísí Babatunde júwe ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ọ̀hún gẹ́gẹ́ bí èyí tó dáwọ́ tani lọ́kàn. bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣàlàyé àwọn ìgbìyànjú lọ́lọ́kan ọ̀jọ̀kan èyí táwọn olùgbé agbègbè náà léyìí tí wọ́n ṣe lójúnà àti dóòlà àwọn èèyàn tó forí sọ́gbà ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà. bẹ́ẹ̀ ló tún pàrọwà sí ìjọba láti yára tètè ṣe àtúnṣe ojú ọ̀nà ìtààmọ́ Gàsàkà lójúnà àti pinwọ́ irúfẹ́ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ iwájú. àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ló ń kojú ìdákúrekú iná ọba látàrí bí ibùdó ìpínná ọba àpapọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ṣe dẹnukọlẹ̀ lóòrọ̀ òní. ìdẹnukọlẹ̀ ọ̀hún ló wáyé láàrin ọ̀sẹ̀ díẹ̀ tí àjọ apínná ọba lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí ṣayẹyẹ ọdún kan tí ibùdó ọ̀hún ti ṣiṣẹ́ bó ti tọ́ láì yingin léyìí tó mú kí àjọ ọ̀hún kó ti ṣáájú gboríyìn. nínú àtẹ̀jáde látọ̀dọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná tó wà nílùú Enugu ṣàlàyé pé ìdẹnukọlẹ̀ ọ̀hún wáyé láago 12:40 lóòrọ̀ òní léyìí tó ṣokùnfà ìdákúrekú iná ọba láwọn ìpínlẹ̀ bíi ìpínlẹ̀ Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu ti mọ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Imo. ẹ̀wẹ̀ ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ nìyí tí irúfẹ́ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò ṣẹlẹ̀ lágbọ̀n ọ̀hún látìgbà tí ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ti gorí àpèrè gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. ẹ̀wẹ̀ ògbóǹtarìgì òǹkọ̀wé ni ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Wọlé Ṣóyínká ti sọ di mímọ̀ pé nítòótọ́ ni olùdíje fún ipò ààrẹ lábẹ́ pẹpẹ ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú Labour Party arákùnrin Peter Obi gbìyànjú gidi gan ṣùgbọ́n ó ṣàlàyé níbi tí ó ti ṣe àfikún rẹ̀ wípé ọkùnrin ọ̀hún kọ́ ló jáwé olúborí ètò ìdìbò ààrẹ léyìí tó wáyé lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí lọ́dún yìí. ọ̀rọ̀ yìí jẹ jáde láti ẹnu ìlúmọ̀ọ́ká òǹkọ̀wé ọ̀hún níbi ètò kan níbi tí wọ́n ti láǹfààní láti fọ̀rọ̀ wá lẹ́nu wò. àkójọ ètò ìrìnnà òfurufú fún tọdún 2023 ń lọ lọ́wọ́ ní olúùlú ilẹ̀ wa l'Àbújá. èyí fi hàn pé ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà ní orílẹ̀-èdè àkọ́kọ́ lápá ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn Áfíríkà tí yóò gbàlejò ètò ọ̀hún. àkójọ ọlọ́jọ́ méjì ọ̀hún ni yóò wáyé láàrin ọjọ́ 13 sí ọjọ́ 14 oṣù kẹsàn-án gẹ́gẹ́ bí àjọ tó mójútó ètò ìrìnnà ojú òfurufú lábẹ́lé ṣe ṣe agbátẹrù rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ẹ̀ka tó ń rí sí àwọn ètò tó kan iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìrìnnà òfurufú lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí léyìí tó ṣàkójọpọ̀ àwọn alẹ́nulọ́rọ̀ àtàwọn ìkànlẹ́ka ìrìnnà ojú òfurufú. ètò àkójọ ọ̀hún ló wà fún mímú àgbéga bá ẹ̀ka náà tí mọ́ àjọṣepọ̀ láàrin àwọn olùdókòwò àti àwọn iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìrìnnà gbogbo. gẹ́gẹ́ bí igbákejì mínísítà fún ètò ìrìnnà lórílẹ̀‐èdè South Africa Lisa Mangusi ti wí ó ṣe pàtàkì fáwọn orílẹ̀‐èdè nílẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ láti pèsè àyíká tó dùn rídùn wò àtàwọn ohun amáyédẹrùn mìíràn. ẹ̀wẹ̀ ètò àkójọ náà ni yóò tún dá lórí wíwá ojútùú sáwọn ìpèníjà lọ́lọ́kan ọ̀jọ̀kan léyìí tó ń bá ẹ̀ka ìrìnnà ojú òfurufú orílẹ̀-èdè yìí fínra. àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn ilé wa lẹ̀ ń gbọ́ láti ìkànnì ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ Diamond 88.7 FM Ìlọrin. ìròyìn náà yóò tẹ̀síwájú lẹ́yìn ìdánudúró ráńpẹ́ yìí.
ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní ìtàkùn káyélujára wa ìtàkùn ìbádọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ Facebook ìtàkùn abẹ́yẹfò Twitter àti Instagram lórí Diamond 887 FM Diamond FM Shining Supreme.
ẹ káàbọ̀ padà bí ẹ̀yin bá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn ilé wa lẹ́ ń gbọ́ láti ìkànnì ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ Diamond 88.7 FM Ìlọrin. ìròyìn náà tẹ̀síwájú báyìí. nílẹ̀ òkèèrè àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alátakò lórílẹ̀‐èdè Madagascar ti tako ìgbésẹ̀ kan èyí tí wọ́n júwe gẹ́gẹ́ bí fífi ọgbọ́n àlùmọ̀kọ́rọ́ yí gba ìjọba látàrí bí olóòtú àgbà ilẹ̀ ọ̀hún tuntun ṣe báńgbọ́lá sí ààrẹ Andry Rajoelina ti léwájú nínú ètò ìgbọ́nà ìṣàkóso orílẹ̀-èdè ọ̀hún láti kópa nínú ètò ìdìbò ààrẹ. nínú lẹ́tà kan èyí tí wọ́n fi ṣọwọ́ sí lájọ elétò ìdìbò 10 nínú àwọn olùdíje fún ipò ààrẹ 13 ṣàlàyé pé ìdájọ́ ilé-ẹjọ́ lẹ́yìn tó ṣègbè lẹ́yìn Christian Ense jẹ́ èyí tó lọ́wọ́ Rajoelina nínú àti ojúgbà rẹ̀ lójúnà àti mú kí nǹkan ṣẹnure fún ààrẹ níbi ètò ìdìbò tí ó wáyé lóṣù kọkànlá. àwọn olùdìbò lórílẹ̀‐èdè Madagascar ní ìrètí wà pé wọn yóò ṣètò ìdìbò ààrẹ lọ́jọ́ 9 oṣù kọkànlá. ẹ̀wẹ̀ Rajoelina ọ̀hún ló ti kọ̀wé fipò sílẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ àbámẹ́ta o níbàámu pẹ̀lú òfin lójúnà àti díje dupò. àmọ́ o ààrẹ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà ilẹ̀ ọ̀hún ni ó yẹ kó gbàkóso ṣùgbọ́n ó kọ̀ láti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ látàrí àwọn ìdí kan tí ó hàn sí òun tìka lára rẹ̀. lórílẹ̀‐èdè Libya àjọ ìṣọ̀kan àwọn orílẹ̀‐èdè lágbàáyé ti sọ ọ́ di mímọ̀ lónìí pé ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n gbẹ́mìí mì níbi ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ omíyalé àgbàráyà ṣọ́ọ̀bù alágbára tó wáyé lórílẹ̀‐èdè Libya ni wọn ìbá ti mórí bọ́ lọ́wọ́ aburú ọ̀hún bó bá jẹ́ wípé àwọn èèyàn náà tẹ̀lé àwọn ìkìlọ̀ tó ti ṣáájú wáyé àti pé bó bá jẹ́ pé àjọ tó ń rí sí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ gbọ̀njógbọ̀njó ṣiṣẹ́ wọn bó ti tọ́ àti bó ti yẹ. gẹ́gẹ́ bí adarí àjọ tó ń wòye ojú ọjọ́ lágbàáyé Peteri Tahalas sọ pé àwọn ìkìlọ̀ ọ̀hún ló ṣe kókó léyìí tí ó yẹ kí àwọn èèyàn ọ̀hún ti ṣáájú tẹ̀lé lójúnà àti fún àjọ tọ́rọ̀ kàn láǹfààní láti dóòlà àwọn èèyàn lọ́wọ́ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ aburú náà. bákan náà ló tún ṣàlàyé pé orílẹ̀-èdè Libya ni ó ní ìṣèjọba tó ń figagbága méjì ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ léyìí tó mú kó ní wọ́n lára láti gbé àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ yàjóyàjó láti dáhùn sí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ pàjáwìrì bó ti tọ́ àti bó ti yẹ. pẹ̀lú àfikún pé níṣe ni ìkángun ìjọba méjèèjì gbé àwọn ìlànà ìpínwọ́ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà kalẹ̀ láyé ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ kó tó di pé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ omíyalé àgbàráyà ṣọ́ọ̀bù kọlu orílẹ̀-èdè ọ̀hún lẹ́nu lọ́ọ́lọ́ yìí. lábala ìròyìn eré ìdárayá ọmọ agbábọ́ọ̀lù nílẹ̀ ìtàló Marco Verratti ti tọwọ́ bọ ìwé àdéhùn pẹ̀lú ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Al Arabi. ìkéde ọ̀hún jẹyọ látọ̀dọ̀ ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù titun rẹ̀ àti èyí tí ó ta kọ́sọ́ kúrò níbẹ̀ Paris Saint-Germain. ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù PSG ọ̀hún nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan èyí tí wọ́n fi síta dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Verratti fún odindi ọdún 11 tó lò nínú ikọ̀ ọ̀hún. Verratti ọ̀hún ló ti ń bá onírúurú ìfarapáwọ̀ làkàdí tí ó sì ti ń kojú ìgbìmọ̀ olùbániwí fún eré ìdíje lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà nínú ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù náà. síbẹ̀ lágbọn eré ìdárayá ọmọ agbábọ́ọ̀lù obìnrin ní Irene Guerrero ti parí gbogbo ètò láti takọ́sọ́ sínú ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Manchester United lẹ́yìn ìjáwé olúborí ife ẹ̀yẹ àgbáyé. adé àárín gbogbo mú ọ̀hún tó wà lára àwọn ọmọ ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù orílẹ̀-èdè Spain tí wọ́n jáwé olúborí níbi ìdíje ife ẹ̀yẹ àgbáyé tàwọn obìnrin èyí tí orílẹ̀-èdè Australia àti ilẹ̀ New Zealand jùmọ̀ gba àlejò rẹ̀ ló ń fojú sun ọ̀pọ̀ àṣeyọrí sí i nínú ìdíje líìgì tó jẹ́ tàwọn obìnrin. adé àárín gbogbo mú ọmọ agbábọ́ọ̀lù ọ̀hún ní agbábọ́ọ̀lù kẹfà tí ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù United yóò tọwọ́ ìwé àdéhùn bọ̀ pẹ̀lú ní sáà yìí lẹ́yìn tó sì ṣeé ṣe kí ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù náà ó tún ra àwọn ọmọ agbábọ́ọ̀lù mìíràn sí i. àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn ilé wa fún tọ̀sán tòní ọ̀hún kò ní jù báyìí lọ ṣùgbọ́n kí n tó dánu dúró ẹgbẹ́ àwọn kókó tá a ti mẹ́nubà nínú ìròyìn náà lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. àmúwá sétí gbọ́ yín lọ́sàn-án tòní wípé ìjàmbá ọkọ̀ gba ẹ̀mí lọ́rùn ènìyàn 5 ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ nílùú Ìlọrin. Bákan náà la tún jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ wípé òkùnkùn bírímù bolẹ̀ láwọn apá ibìkan látàrí ìdẹnukọlẹ̀ ibùdó iná ọba àpapọ̀. Bákan náà la tún jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ lọ́sàn tòní pé ìlúmọ̀ọ́ká òǹkọ̀wé ni Wọlé Ṣóyínká buẹnu àtẹ́lu ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú Labour Party ó ní Òbí kọ́ ló jáwé olúborí ètò ìdìbò ààrẹ o. Bákan náà la tún jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ wípé orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà yóò gbàlejò àkójọ ètò ìrìnnà ojú òfurufú pàápàá jùlọ lórí Instagram @Diamond 887 FM. Ẹ lè bá wa dọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ lórí ìtàkùn abánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ Facebook wa @Diamond 887 FM. Ẹ lè dáńlóòdù app wa Diamond FM lórí Google Play Store tàbí lórí Apple Store. Bákan náà lórí Radio Garden ẹ ó láǹfààní láti gbọ́ wa ń bẹ̀ lórí àtẹ ayélujára àwa ń bẹ̀ www.diamondfm.net. Nedu Okorie ó ní olóòtú àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn lẹ́wà fún tọ̀sán tòní. Láti fi èyíkéyìí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yàjóyàjó tó bá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láyìíká àti agbègbè yín tó yàrá ìròyìn iléeṣẹ́ wa létí ẹ kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 09160627526. Ọ̀làǹrẹ̀wájú Oyewole ló tú àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn ilẹ̀ wa fún tọ̀sán tòní sí èdè àbínibí tó sì mú wá sétí gbọ̀yìn. Ẹ ṣé o bí ẹ ṣe ń tẹ́tí sí kàn níyìn tó tàwọn yọ ẹ̀ mọ́ yáṣẹ́.